morning, Sri Lanka. In case you just tuned in, our guest today is a managing director of a corporate training firm and also a Toastmaster for almost 20 years. We have Yukti Gunasekara. And quick mention, you were on the debater one time.
That's right.
You were a judge.
Yes.
You see, I do my research. All right, so Yukti, now getting into the corporate world, I asked you before we went to a break. I said, there's an attitude that you have to have in your workplace. What is that attitude?
The attitude is a can-do attitude.
A can-do attitude.
A can-do attitude. That's right. Because what is expected is your best.
Okay.
So the thing is, so you go to work with the thought in mind that that you're going to do your best work for the company that day.
Of course.
So that is something which is very important, and it goes back to your earlier question about because the circumstances or the environment is not always positive.
Of course, yeah.
But however, you need to really focus on giving your best.
Yeah.
So because that is very important, not because of anything else, but for your own
Right.
benefit, right?
Right.
Because whatever said and done, your performance cannot suffer.
Right.
Right. So that I would say is the number one thing. So you need to really be positive and be focused on your work.
Right.
And if it is the case that you are not in a position, because life is always not going to be very easy.
Of course.
Right.
Not,
So there are the ups and downs. But the thing is, I'm not saying to quit. But the thing is, but if you think that it's a hopeless situation, then you better start looking elsewhere.
Okay.
But the thing is, but you need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Are you looking for something else because you're finding it difficult?
Yeah.
Or is the situation hopeless?
Right.
Right.
Speaking of hopeless situations, now a lot of people transition from one job to another. It not necessarily might have to be with a different job. It might be the same thing, but in a different company. But it comes to a point where when you're in between jobs, that you're job seeking, and it comes to a point where you're like, wow, I don't think I could find a job. How would you react to a scenario like that? Would you just give up looking for that type of job? Would you start looking at a new career path?
Definitely, because the thing is, my advice to youngsters is, as you start your career, focus on say, for example, you've done your research, you know yourself, you have identified your skill set or what you're good at doing, right? So you found a job which is in line with that, right? So the thing is, stick it out, basically, because it's very important. Because if you constantly jump jobs, because your resume is not going to look very good, right? So the thing is, in GE they did some research about their top executives, right? And they found out that the average time that they spent in a particular given job role was about 2.5 to 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So I would give the same advice to youngsters starting off, right? So the thing is, but not to change careers every 6 months, because what happens is it takes about 2 years to really master the job, right, and learn the skill set that goes along with it. So if you constantly change jobs, that means you are not having the learning. And the at least the theory of it, sometimes jokingly referred to, is when you start your career, right, so there is work, money, right? And as you go up, right, so it's going to be one work and 4 monies, and then right at the top it's money and no work, right? So the thing is, so that's one way of, maybe funny, but that's one way of looking at it. Because companies pay you in 2 ways. One is experience, the other is money. Right. So when you're starting off, it's very important to focus on the skill set. What am I learning?
More than what you're
more than what
for.
Absolutely.
Great, interesting. You also write about jumping jobs. It's because, like, when people tend to jump from, I'm just presuming here, when they jump from job to job and they apply for their dream job, they look at, okay, wow, you've only worked in this place for a couple of months. What gives us security that you're going to stay with us for longer? So I guess you're right when it comes to that as well. All right, so creative jobs. Now this is again going back to it. If you are someone who holds a creative job, maybe in an advertising agency, and let's just say your company closes down, and you have no such luck with finding another creative job, how would you transition yourself into a corporate culture? Can you do it? is it possible, like, for example, let's say you're an art director and the only couple of jobs available in the world right now is being an accountant. How would you transition yourself from being a creative person to doing something like being an accountant?
There are, Jason, there are certain limitations when it comes to transitioning jobs like that, because there's totally two different careers paths, right? And accountant means that you need to have an accounting degree and you know, qualifications. So the thing is, so that's not always doesn't come very easy. So the thing is, maybe you'll have to go to the bottom of the pile and start as a trainee executive, for example, right? So if you're willing to do that, that's fine. So my advice would be, or my suggestion would be, to try to look for positions in the given example, in the example that you gave. Try to find a job or a role or whatever in an organization or in a setting which is similar, which requires a similar skill set. Right. So because if there are going to be huge changes, right, that is not something which even headhunters or career guidance people advise, because what happens is, because you build a certain skill set, right? So the thing is, it takes years. I don't know whether you've heard about the 10,000 hour rule. No, there's a thing called the 10,000 hour rule. Okay, to master any job role or profession, it takes 10,000 hours. 10,000. So if you to put into practical terms, it takes about 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
Right? So the thing is, so just imagine, right, you've spent 8 to 10 years in a particular career role, right, and then you start a totally new career role, right? So which means to master that, it's going to take another 8 years.
8 years.
Right? I'm not just saying just doing a role, right? I'm saying mastery of the role. Okay, so it takes that long. So what you have built in the past is lost in the process. So that's why it's very important. Now, in my own career, it was marketing.
Oh wow.
Marketing, communications. It has always something to do with communication. Because marketing, you know, is the end of the day, it's communicating. Right. So the thing is, so my advisors, my mentors, always told me, you know, you stick to this. And if you look at my career path as well, it's in that you know, it's in that, on that road, along that road. Even if you take law, right, which is my you know, what I'm qualified in. Law is a communications role. You're communicating, you're advocating something on behalf of a client.
Exactly. True. Interesting. Wow. Okay, on that note, Yukti, we're going to go into a quick commercial break. We'll be more of Yukti right after this commercial break.